Hi, everybody. I am Yolanda Marie. So I made it back to you guys. I'm feeling much better. There were some adjustments that were happening in the way that the Arcturians and my guides all collectively wanted to come through me and communicate. And they're still working with me a little bit on that. I don't want to get into it too much because it will get in the way of the update. But basically, they were bringing me back down into my human a lot more because the original thought was then I will be able to relate in a different way. But really, in the end, we all decided it's just better to leave more of my cosmic self, even if it's awkward or whatever whatever the result is there, to leave more of the cosmic self because so much more energy can be transmitted, so much more high frequency code more easily. It's not that it can't be done the other way, but it would just take a lot more doing, and we got a lot of work to do. So we're just going to keep going through this, okay? For now. But maybe to be continued, and maybe there will probably be a lot to learn from the process anyway. But as you could maybe see last week, it really took a toll on my human. And so actually, we're going to get into some of the coming back into our human talk, actually. So let's just go ahead and get started now. Everybody's here. Receive the codes as they are going to come in. The energy is already moving through me, and it may get bigger. They've been here for a while, and they're definitely ready to talk, okay? So first of all, we're moving into consistent, conscious adjustment of higher timeline frequencies. Now, I want you to think about that because we knew the broader picture that we're becoming more instant creators. In other words, more instantly able to affect the creation, okay, in the way that it materializes. And this will take, of course, a much longer time. I mean, I would say decades. This will take, in your time, many, many decades, yes, many decades, to begin to see the fruits of this labor in a more collective fashion. But individually, many of you will begin to experience this in your lifetime. Know this. You will experience this, okay? So they really want you to know that, okay? So, but this is what they're talking about here specifically, though, is higher timeline frequencies. In other words, you're going to be able to feel when you're shifting out of the higher timeline frequencies more consciously and adjust. Okay? And what you're going to be doing really is shifting into preferred baseline frequencies, but it's just getting more specific is what's happening. You're going to be shifting word frequencies, okay? Now, this is really important here because Mercury has been in retrograde, which is fine. It's beautiful. Things are coming back in a wonderful, different way. And especially those of us who are awake to what's going on, we're experiencing the beautiful side of things. And so where Mercury retrograde used to be like, oh my gosh, it's scary, for for many, and it can still be, I mean, it's glitchy. We all know it can be glitchy, and and this is a collective experience. Also know that you can individually, on an individual basis, manipulate the experience to your benefit, or just, sort of step away from it and be in a more observational mode, okay? So please know that about any of these planetary alignments. Okay, that's first and foremost, but this is beautiful what's happening. So if you are experiencing this consciously, but what's happening with these words and phrases, and they said it's words, phrases, thought forms, even, because those are the elements of creation right there, the thought forms, okay? It's the 3D imagery combined with emotions. And we'll get, so now we're talking quantum. I keep saying that, and we are going to get into more of this in a more visual way. So, but visualize what I'm saying, that the thought forms are the elements of creation. We'll leave it at that. That's a simplified, very, very, very simplified way, because the thought forms themselves aren't really words, you see. So these are coming back in. And by coming back in, what they mean by that is there are things that you had been used to in the past and you thought you've left behind, and you were trying to be this completely different way, have this completely different experience. And you are being very successful in this. But meanwhile, other things are coming back in and revisiting you that you thought you needed to completely leave behind. And that's what they mean. Life, they mean human life, thought forms, phrases, things that you have enjoyed one way are coming back in a different way, and you are going to consciously reintegrate these things through your heart. We've been through this before, but it's a leveling up, you guys, because I'm going to say be very conscious about this, but they're saying you are already becoming this. This is like a state of becoming that's happening. And we're just like letting you know. So if you are sensing and picking up on this already, it's a confirmation for you that this is already happening. And if you weren't conscious about it, so now you can like get conscious about it. And then it gets exciting when you can be really conscious about the way that you create. And we'll get into that because that can seem like, oh, that's so much work, right? I don't want to think about everything in every moment. And it used to feel like that, when we were in a heavier energy. But as you get lighter, as things have released and either reintegrated already or been healed in a way that they really are just released and transmuted into something completely different, it's much easier. This becomes a new way of being. They say this is a steady process. This will move back and forth, okay? As the frequency and conscious awareness, and they mean collectively, rises, okay? So collectively, the steady process of observing this becomes natural. It's not like a forced thing, okay? That's what's happening. And so they're saying this is a natural engagement once you begin the awareness of this. So just sit with that for just a moment. The key is always to just come back to it. So when you lose the awareness of this and you start to just sort of get a little heavier and you notice the heavy weight in your mind, you notice the heavy thought processes and you go, oh, I forgot to put this through my heart. It's just going to become more natural. That's what they're saying. Just get back to the awareness of it. And they're saying, think of this as the actual new normal mode of operation. So put that in your mindset. That way it's not like foreign to you. Think of this activity as the new normal mode of operation, while the prior way of just disengaging from this is no longer normal. Because from a 3D perspective, you would just disengage from the whole process and get back into sort of like this automatic, repeated mode of behavior where you don't have to think about it. It's the not thinking, right? It's the not thinking. And it felt good back then. It's like, I can just let this go. And the thoughts bombarding you seemed like a lot. Well, they were. See, now the thoughts are not bombarding you the same way. Just think about that for a minute. You're also going to consciously be engaging in time manipulation. Now, this factors into how new types of, we'll call them businesses. We really don't know what we're going to call them because the word business has such a negative stigma. But of course, we just discussed this. We can refocus this and clear the energy of that as well. So we can say business because business no longer has to mean mindless, selfish, disregarding the many, taking care of the few. It doesn't have to mean all of those things, but they're saying that this conscious engagement in time manipulation is going to factor into the new way we do business and the way that it will be run and maneuvered and all of that. Because right now we are on this sort of clock, right? And it's like time is viewed in a certain way where it's very self-centered, like time is so valuable, and it is very valuable, but it's just like a machine. There is not the conscious engagement of the heart and compassion when engaging with others, involving their time. It's not thought of in this way. It's just thought of what is needed. What is the detail that has to get done? What is the busyness that has to get done? Is it done? If it's not done yet, then somehow you have shorted the rest of the business and somehow the business will fail. And this is what will leave. These notions of what busyness is and business and the making of your abundance and taking care of your families and enjoying yourselves. This is what will shift. The idea that everything has to be so intricately woven in a way that is disregarding the nature of an individual, what the individual needs, and how important and special they are. And these things are what will shift. And it is time to begin to shift them now as you organize yourselves into these smaller collectives of beautiful souls who have similar purpose and transmission. Okay, so I'm so happy they came through with that. They've been talking about this, whispering a little bit, and many of you are already trying to wrap your heads around what this is going to look like. And so now we're tiptoeing into this. Some of you are jumping in, but we're tiptoeing into this new idea of being. It's all wrapped up into, how will we take care of ourselves, manage, eat, breathe, live, be happy and healthy and all of that, because some of that weight, a lot of it in the collective, of course, but some of us individually, of course, we are still letting go of some of these ideas. We're disengaging them from us, dislodging them from us, from ourselves. Okay. And so, yeah, they say here, different standards of focus, time input, value, and individual worth. Okay. And this is not going to be a surprise. I'm just going to scroll up here, guys. Okay. And so we have a little bit more time. We're just going to keep going. Here's a little bit more, okay? They're saying there is nothing that you cannot do. Simply let go of the expectation of the details. Expect the perfect outcome at all times. Imagine, in fact, that all of your outcomes can be joyful and expansive. Give yourself permission to do this. This is going to be the new mode of practicing creation. Now, the reason all of this is coming forward right now is because of this tumultuous activity that's about to happen. All of this tumultuous activity leading into these next 2 weeks, you want to be in your creator mode. Big time be in your creator mode, okay? That's why all of this is coming through right now and why it's so important. Okay, there's one more note that they want you to know, okay? Just one more thing. They're saying if you feel like within the last week or so, maybe the last 2 weeks, like you've come back down to earth into your body more and you weren't trying to ground, right? And you just came back down into your body. They're saying you probably don't like it so much, right? Do not worry. What's happening is you are integrating at such a fast pace right now. The Arcturian said there's definitely a design to this. You've got to be patient with yourself and calm because you're going to feel like you're not going to rise again. But this is not true. And I'm quoting them there. This is not true. All right, so that is what they want you to know. Again, remember your manifestational abilities this week and next week. All right, because in all of these abilities coming together with you bringing them to your conscious awareness as they become more natural, you're also clearing collective distortions. You're helping to realign things and you're seeding the human consciousness through yourself. Remember the expanding balloon of consciousness. Okay, so that's what's happening. All right, so I hope that all of this made sense, soul family. You are becoming your creator version in the human form while you are in the physical body. And this is something that you are paving the way for other humans to do. It's very important what you're doing, and it's not going to feel like work. Very soon, it's not going to feel like work, okay? So just keep the process going. Remember, your manifestational abilities this week and next week are going to help clear the collective distortions as well. I mean, you're realigning things. You're seeding the collective consciousness as you expand, as this stuff becomes more natural. All right. So I love you so much, my friends. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Namaste.